This program is part of the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. For more shows like this, visit our website at cosmicpotatonetwork.com.
Watching television, watching television. Watching television, watching television. I need all the image, I need all the sound, I know the info right into my mind.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Trial by Pilot. This is the show where we judge an entire series of television and the work of hundreds on one episode. I'm Bill Lynch.
I'm Elizabeth Lynch.
I was distracted mid-intro because there's a cardinal calling outside.
Yeah.
Because we're recording a little bit earlier than usual.
Yeah.
And it's summer, so it's still almost a little light out. That's neither here nor there. My real question is, do you have the power?
Am I supposed to have an answer for this?
Yeah, you're supposed to say, I have the power.
Oh.
Okay, I guess.
I literally just watched this.
I know, twice.
Well, 1.5 times.
1.5 times.
Yeah.
We are talking about Masters of the Universe Revelation, a new animated series on Netflix. Did you watch this growing up?
I think I did. I don't remember a lot of it. I feel like maybe I watched it as like colors and shapes. Like there's just like something that's very familiar about all of it. I recognized a lot of the characters and the animation and everything, but storyline and what was actually happening, I don't think I ever really followed. Like I don't really have any like retention of that.
Yeah. So I was, I think, pretty obsessed with it as a kid. Like it was one of my favorite shows, but it was like I was a very, very young kid.
Yeah, we were very little, I think.
So there were 130 episodes, which is a ton, but it started in 1983. So
Oh, yeah, we were really young.
really, really young. And so same thing, like I remember liking it. I remember the characters. I remember having some of the toys. There's a scene in this where like one of the bad guys, like War Machines, comes and like swings down a giant ball to like crush somebody. And I remember having that toy.
You had that toy.
I didn't remember it until I saw that in the cartoon. I was like, holy shit, I had that.
We had some, so my cousin Bobby was really into He-Man. Mm-hmm. And so that was like, I think it was like Bobby and Danny. And so maybe like we watched it with them or something. Like I don't remember it being like it's not like the way I watched Gem where like I remember like those things but like it's more just like images. And I think I got like a She-Ra doll for Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
Have you heard the saga of my She-Ra doll?
No, I've not.
Well, I was playing with the neighbor in our backyard, and my She-Ra doll went missing. Now, sometime later, that neighbor had a She-Ra doll and claims that it was theirs, which is fucking bullshit. They stole my She-Ra doll. This is like, 35 years ago. Mm-hmm. Not quite that long.
Do I know this neighbor?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not Lacey.
Oh, okay. I was going to call her out.
No, my like yard neighbor that lived in the yard next door. Stole my She-Ra doll. Haven't gotten over that. My Aunt Tracy also made me a He-Man blankie.
Yeah, which Billy
now
Billy's
has. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really use it, but
No, but he does
it's almost 10 times older than Billy is.
I was going to say 10 years old. No.
It's very, very faded.
It came with a pillow, too. She made a pillow, too, which I eventually, when we moved, I made you throw that away.
Yeah, that pillow lasted about 30 years.
That went in the garbage.
20-something years.
Yeah.
And it was time to go.
And we told your aunt, I was like, oh, yeah, we threw that away. She's like, what? You threw it away? I was like, that thing was disgusting.
It was a 25-year-old pillow.
That you slept on without a pillowcase.
For 25 years. Yeah.
Barf. It was very sweet. We kept the blanket because that can easily be bleached in the washer.
So anyway.
Have you heard the saga of my She-Ra doll?
No.
Well,
Did you steal it from a kid?
I didn't, but the Christmas that we all got our She-Ra dolls, Bobby my cousin got a He-Man doll. But he really wanted a She-Ra doll. And he was very upset.
Oh.
He like cried on Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
Feel bad. I mean, we were so young. Now I'm thinking about this. He must have been 4 years old.
Yeah, so even though it lasted for a while, the popularity must have carried on.
I think so, yeah.
Beyond its run.
Yeah.
Because they're even younger than we are. But yeah, anyway, all that to say, I don't really remember anything about the show. Like,
Okay.
other than-
I was wondering if like you like
I mean,
knew everything.
also it was geared towards like, 8 to 12-year-old boys. I
Yeah.
don't think there was much of a storyline to remember. Maybe I'm wrong. But I remember the characters and Grayskull and
Maybe it's just like broad
toys.
themes.
Yeah. But I have friends who are my age who are like, oh man, so much nostalgia. It's bringing
Yeah.
back all these memories. I'm like, no, okay.
I mean, like, okay, so the little character that's like in like a purple cloak and it's just like a black shadow.
Yeah.
What's that character's name?
I don't remember.
Okay, that like came on the screen and I was like, oh my god, like I
remembered
remember
it?
that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, like I remember it. but-
that and
Orko is his name.
Skeletor. But in this, I kept looking for She-Ra, and is she in this? Is one of those characters She-Ra?
No, I don't think she's in this. There is another show on Netflix called She-Ra and the Princess of Power or something like
Okay.
that. That I think is geared towards maybe even younger kids. I haven't watched it.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be pretty good. But yeah, like I didn't even remember. I was like, is Tila She-Ra?
That's what I was trying to do, which is why I had to start watching it twice because I kept watching it with the characters and like the actors pulled up because I was recognizing some voices and like trying to figure out who was who. And in that, I was then starting to Google names of characters because like Prince Adam is He-Man, but the character description just said He-Man, not Prince Adam. So I'm like looking all over to find like who's who and thinking that maybe one of those other names was really She-Ra, but no.
Yeah, so we'll get into the whatever plot there was in a minute, but there are plenty of voices to recognize here. I immediately recognize Lena Headey,
Yeah.
Cersei Lannister, Mark Hamill, and then Liam Cunningham, who played Man-at-Arms, who was Davos Seaworth in Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. And then some that I kind of recognized, and then I looked it up afterwards. Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah.
Plays-
That's who I recognized right away. I was
Oh,
like,
really?
Who is that?
Yeah.
I couldn't place it, but like I knew it.
And then did you look up who the Queen was voiced by?
I think it was Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was created by Kevin Smith.
I saw that.
Yeah. So
I also saw, like, as I was Googling this stuff, I saw a headline. Now, I've only seen the pilot, so I don't really know the rest of it, but it said, like, Kevin Smith reacts to, like, viewers who say that this show's too woke, and his response is just, get over it.
yeah,
But I
so
just don't know how woke it is because I only saw, the episode we saw.
I was very surprised because I watched this pilot before reading anything. And then when I was looking up the voice actors, I saw a bunch of these headlines and I was like, oh, this goes in a different direction than I thought it was going to, apparently. But let's quickly talk about the pilot and then we'll talk about our thoughts and we'll talk about all the controversy surrounding
Okay.
it now. So it starts off, it introduces the world of the Masters of the Universe. There's narration over what is like fully an ad out of the 1980s. Mm-hmm. It takes place on Eternia, this like magical world. There's good, there's bad, and so on. And then we start the episode and waste very little time getting into like the ultimate battle between the good of Castle Grayskull and the ultimate evil of Skeletor and his
Right.
army. I guess kids don't really need characters established before they start punching each other.
No. Just get into it.
I
It
also-
confused me though because I just like didn't. I was like, wait, where are they? Like they like switched. They were in like clearly a different place, but
Right.
didn't realize that till the second time I started it through.
Also, I don't know if this is supposed to be happening at the end of the last He-Man series, if it's a total retelling, but like they clearly like
Yeah.
assume like, all right, everybody knows Skeletor's bad, He-Man's good. immediately they're battling each other. And so all this is going down as Tila is being blessed by the king and the queen as the new man-at-arms of Eternia. And it's interrupted by this attack as Adam, aka He-Man, is called to Grayskull by the sorceress. So they're in two different locations, but she like telepathically calls out to him like, we're under attack, we need help. And so at this point, only a very small group know his true identity, including his mom, but not including Tila or the king, his father.
Right.
Who's like kind of a jerk. So there's this big battle, but it ultimately ends up in the depths of Grayskull that like even fewer people even knew existed. And Tila is fighting and gets like bested by Skeletor and is like saved at the last moment by like super buff He-Man. So, you know, all this feels like dated and like kind of tropey at this point.
Yeah.
Like 1980s tropey.
Yeah.
And so He-Man stabbed Skeletor with his sword, but it was all part of the plan to get him to use his sword as the key, which was its original purpose. And it unlocks this like tomb chest thing where there's a magical orb holding all of the combined powers that helped create Eternia. Of course, Skeletor wants all this power, and so he swings down his staff, and the moment it touches the orb and begins to crack, the sorceress appears and freezes time. And apparently this blast from this orb is going to like destroy existence or something.
Right.
And the only chance is for He-Man to call upon the powers of Grayskull again and absorb all the energy himself. And so as he does this, his sword splits in two, and he becomes Adam again with Tila watching, so she realizes now who he is.
Right.
And he and Skeletor vanish, seemingly like just vaporized by this power. And like even Skeletor's like secondhand, who's voiced by Lena Headey, she's like, she looks distraught, like he's gone, and she leaves. Everyone, you know, realizes He-Man is whatever, dead, gone.
Yeah.
And so the king only now finds out that Adam was He-Man, and he's so pissed that he didn't know, he banishes Man-at-Arms for not telling him and orders Tila to throw him out, which is his daughter.
Right.
And
The Man-at-Arms daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Tila throws down her sword in defiance. She's upset with everyone. No one told her the secret either. And so she heads out of the castle on her own. End of the pilot.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nice and 25 minutes.
Yeah, it was short. And this whole first part is only 5 episodes, I think.
Oh, really?
5, like 20-something minute episodes. So I started to write my thoughts, and I was basically thinking, like, all right, this pilot is probably super cool to, like, a 10-year-old boy, right? I didn't personally find much of it that interesting. Like, they just throw you into this big battle. But then I started to Google it a little bit, and there's all this controversy because apparently the rest of the series is like the complete antithesis of this. It's all about Tila. It's all about like her personal journey. He-Man is not even in it.
Oh, really?
Like he really is like dead and or on another plane of existence or something.
Oh, okay.
And so, you know, all of these butthurt neckbeards that are like in their late 30s in their mom's basements are like, I just watched the trailer and I thought this was going to be a He-Man show. He-Man's not even in it. This is bullshit.
Right. It's not called He-Man.
Right. He-Man's not even in the title.
Right.
But, you know, he's in the trailer featured.
Right.
And then, you know, like you said, basically Kevin Smith is like, well, suck it.
Right.
But, you know, people are upset because they're saying it's false advertising.
Oh, my God.
But apparently, like...
It's like the stakes are not that high, people.
I know.
It's like...
Listen...
Half of you aren't even paying for your Netflix subscription.
Also, it's like fucking clearly a kid show. Like,
right.
I mean, you know, I think Kevin Smith wanted it to be both like a kid show that adults would watch for nostalgia. It's pretty much a kid show. Like, it's on the Netflix kids rankings.
Right.
So, like, these people are so invested in it.
Yeah. This isn't like your like big release that you just spent like $15 to go see in the movie theater.
Right.
As part of like the Star Wars world, you know?
Yeah.
I'm comparing it to that. I'm not saying it's part of the Star Wars world.
Yes.
I do know the difference.
Although Orko kind of fits in with the Star Wars universe.
He does?
I mean, just looks-wise.
Oh, okay. Sure. You could literally throw anything and be like, that's a new Star Wars character.
Yeah. So I read a bunch that, like, it becomes like much more interesting and nuanced, and like the writing is, you know, more than just good and bad guys punching each other. But before I had read that, I was like, I don't know how much this can ride the line between kids and adults, because like the pilot felt very like focused towards preteen boys.
Yeah, and like I honestly felt like when I started watching it, like it came on and then I just felt like immediately thrown into it. It was like as if I were 5 again and just randomly turned on an episode in the middle of an episode.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. Where I was just like, okay, this is on now.
It felt like
I'll watch it while I play Barbies. Like, like it just didn't mean anything.
It felt like the season finale.
Yeah.
To like the first season of He-Man or something,
Right.
you know? Where there's a cliffhanger like, oh no, is He-Man really dead? But no, it's just the first episode to lead into this Tila story.
What I appreciated while I wasn't like all that interested in what was going on. And I was like, okay, I must have missed some stuff. I got to go back. That's why I went back to watch it. Cause I was sure that you were going to like have all the information. Like you were going to know as much about this as you do like Star Wars things or Marvel things. Like you understand that whole like world, but apparently not. So I was like, I got to get back on this. I got to watch it again.
I realize that it's all relative, and between the two of us, I'm like the Star Wars and Marvel expert in quotes.
I know.
I know so little about it compared to like actual Star Wars nerds.
I know, but I like compared to me, you know,
yeah.
I don't know anything. So, but what I did appreciate, although this is not my favorite style of animation at all, I appreciated that it looked exactly like the old series.
Yeah.
Because what's interesting about it, I don't like all like the sharp edges on the actual people, like the actual characters. I love how like completely fantastical the whole world is.
Yeah.
Like it's just like endless sky. Like all you see in the background is just universe. It's not just like a small like setting. It's like the entire world is in the distance, basically. Yeah. And I think that's kind of cool. And it's just like very 80s animation where it's like the sky's red here and it's and there's so many stars. It's like
there were a few cool moments of like more contemporary animation and like cool visuals, like where Skeletor like loses his disguise and like he holds his staff out and you like see like the goat's skull or whatever, like the ram skull form on the top of the staff.
Right.
But then a lot of it, like some of the bad guys, just like the way the characters are built are so silly.
Yeah.
Like even though they were just disguises or like illusions from Skeletor, like the first two bad guys that you think He-Man has caught, like one's just like a big like spiky, I don't know, spiky ball head or something.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. One's just like a robot. Like, so I don't really know if I care enough to keep watching, even though the next 4 episodes are only like an hour and a half. So like maybe I would binge it at some point.
Yeah. Just to be able to like speak on it.
I think I would do it solely because of all these articles that are like, oh, it actually becomes an intriguing character study of Tila.
Right.
And not this whatever else. But like judging by the pilot, it was not indicative of that at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we talk all the time, like trial by pilot. Like, does the pilot do its job? I would say no for this. Because it didn't make me think that that was going to be the direction of the show, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that you didn't come into this episode just like, oh my gosh, what the hell was that?
No, I don't know. I think I was like, I didn't really want to watch it, but like I did watch it. I do have some nostalgia for it. Like it does. I don't think about it often.
Yeah.
But like seeing it, I was like, oh yeah. I don't know. It just like brought back some sort of feeling. So it wasn't like, I guess I was like more trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
And I wasn't just like, oh my God, I don't care about this dumb, okay, you know, this guy's a bad guy. Like I you know,
okay.
I was just, I don't know. I guess I was just trying to like, okay, what did I miss? Like, can I remember any of this from when I was a kid? And the answer is no. And the entire time I was looking for She-Ra. So But I wasn't like completely turned off by it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. You won't continue watching though, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if you continue to watch it, let me know if you think it's something I would watch. Like, I don't think it's something you need to wait for me for. If it's really interesting and like groundbreaking, maybe I'd watch it.
Yeah.
If Billy got into it, maybe I'd watch it. But I don't know if this is a little too old for him.
Yeah, I almost thought about that because like we're always struggling to find time to watch shows when our son is sleeping. And I was like, oh, this is actually animated. Billy might just sit still for 25 minutes and watch this show. But then I was like, it's probably violent. Even if it's like kid violence, we don't really
Kid violence with like lightning and not any actual weapons. It's like a sword and like staffs with lightning.
Yeah, but there's like people punching and kicking each other. We don't
Yeah.
really let him watch any of that stuff. Like he's still a little young
Yeah,
for
no,
that, I
that's
think.
true. We don't. And actually, he came into our room when I was watching it the second time. And then, like, I was like, oh, maybe Billy, he was, like, going to climb up on the bed with me. And I was like, all right, whatever. I'll let him watch this. But then, like, Skeletor's face came on the screen. And I was like, ugh, right before bed.
He-Man
You
does,
know, like-
does skewer Skeletor with his sword at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I think, like, maybe you see purple blood or no blood at all. And,
Yeah.
like, Skeletor gets right back up. But, like, still, it was kind of violent.
Yeah. We can just shelter him for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
There's no need. Plenty of stuff for him to
Yeah.
watch that's not like this.
Yeah. But, I mean, maybe the future episodes are far less violent and we could
Right.
turn them on. Or, it's 25 minutes. We can watch them before bed since we're not really in the middle of a sitcom right now.
Right.
So we'll see. It's only 4 more episodes.
I say if we're gonna let Billy watch it, we have to screen them all first. And what does he care about plot? Like he'll just watch whatever because he likes what's going, like who's in it.
Right.
So if there's like, oh, this one's not too violent, he can watch this one. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter
And
if
it
it's
has a
in the
female
middle.
protagonist that he'll become obsessed with.
Right.
Perfect.
That's what he does. Well, let's put a pin in that. Let's go find that She-Ra one that's geared towards younger kids.
Okay.
I want to watch that too.
We could do that.
We'll screen them first.
We could do that. So
We
would
have
you-
a lot of control over Billy's TV.
as we should.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, we absolutely should. It's just.
We did find out, everyone, that he spent $35 on Wild Kratts episodes, which is an animated PBS show that he watches all the time for free. But then sometimes he gets into like the Amazon version of it or something and buys it for like $4 an episode.
No, so that's not what happened. Here's what happened. Okay, when you watch it on demand, which is how we do it sometimes, because we just say, Wild Kratts into the remote, right? So when you pick an episode on there, if it goes, sometimes it'll like go right into the next one.
Yeah.
And there it says, instead of saying like, do you want to watch this? It'll say like, buy, like he'd have to click a down arrow to just say watch. But it's the option that's right there is buy for $2.99. So we're buying it from Xfinity for $2.99 when we can already watch it or record it.
Yeah, so Elizabeth set up a PIN on our account. So now he has to put in a 4-digit PIN, which of course he doesn't know. And twice already, this was like 2 days ago, twice already I've walked in there and he's like, Daddy, can you help me put on another episode? And the PIN thing is showing
Oh,
up.
so it is working.
So it's working.
Okay, good.
So he hasn't bought any new shows.
So maybe this is dumb of us, but listen, let's go back. This has happened. He's spent $35 on television since we moved into this place last March. And everybody knows that was the start of a global pandemic and both of us were home and Billy was not in school and we let him watch a lot of TV to get by.
Yeah, get off our backs, everybody.
Who is supposed to? Well, I'm just mad at Xfinity because, like, who is supposed to? Like, where were we gonna find time? Like, there were so many accounts we were setting up. Like, I was gonna go into my new Xfinity account to figure out how to put the parental controls on. I didn't know I could block it. I just remember being like, God, why is it so easy for a kid to just buy this? So I called them the other day and they refunded us $24.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
Would you recommend He-Man? Or, I'm sorry, not He-Man, Masters of the Universe.
Sheesh.
Revelation. She-Ra.
Sure. I don't think I'm going to watch it, but why not? If only for like nostalgia or if you have like a young kid who might want to watch this.
Yeah. One of those things.
One of those things. It's not like the pilot wasn't groundbreaking, people. I can't say that much about it.
Yeah, I know. So like the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is like, I don't know, 35% or something, because people are just review bombing it. Mm-hmm. But the critic score, I think, is super high. It's like 95%.
Oh, really? So
it's supposed to be pretty good. I'm kind of intrigued just to see how it turns.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, if you have suggestions on shows for us to watch, you can email us at trialbypilot@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at trialbypilot. And please go into Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, subscribe to the show, leave a review, and tell a friend.
And thank you to the Beats for providing our theme music.
Thanks, Beats.
Bye.
Bye.
Watching television, watching television. Watching television, watching